Welcome to the Higher Ed Geek Podcast, where we explore the impact of EdTech on the student experience with engaging, fun, and relevant conversations that honor the wide range of work happening all across the higher ed ecosystem. I'm your host, Dustin Ramsdell. I've been working in and around higher ed for the past decade, focused on student support and digital experience. Join me every week for discussions with some of the best minds in education technology. We'll be bringing you their perspectives on how digital transformation is reshaping the way we recruit, engage, and graduate learners. You'll hear firsthand accounts of how institutional leaders are developing their strategy, as well as get deeper on the stories of how these EdTech tools are being built to foster better student outcomes. With that, let's get to today's episode. Welcome, everyone, to another special live episode of the Higher Ed Geek Podcast, recorded live here at the Engage 2025 Summit in Charlotte. It is very hot here, very nice and cool in the convention center, thankfully, but we are joined for this episode with a whole contingent of folks from DIS Study Abroad. I know of your organization through some other involvements, but I thought it was really great that you all are here since you're kind of an international organization and doing kind of study abroad, experiential learning stuff, and kind of my idea was sort of like, how does that kind of combine with using digital platforms? Like, how do they enable you all to kind of reach your full potential? But we'll start briefly. If you all want to just introduce yourselves, your titles, what you do at DIS, and then we'll get into the rest of our conversation.
All right, I can start. My name is Asta. I'm the marketing and campaign manager, and I've been with DIS for 7 years now. Our team supports student enrollment a lot, so working with our enrollment team to strategically meet our enrollment targets. And one of the platforms that we utilize, of course, is Element to help us strategically think about how to reach each student at the journey they're on.
Wonderful. My name's Lena, and I am our Outreach and Communications Coordinator at our North American office in Minnesota. And I manage our pre-departure communications and also have been involved in the rollout of our CRM Element 451 at our North American office, which we rolled out for our enrollment team and are now figuring out kind of what's next.
And I'm Lucy. I am the Digital Portfolio Manager at DIS, based in Copenhagen. I look across our projects and platforms and tech landscape and make sure that they all play nicely together and are aligned with our overall strategy.
Yeah, and I appreciate, again, just that you all are here. And it's an international representation here, which is awesome. And just in case folks aren't aware, if just one of you wants to kind of grab this one, if you want to give kind of the elevator pitch of what DIS Study Abroad does, what it offers to students and institutions, all that.
Sure. DIS is, as the name says, a study abroad organization. We're based out of Scandinavia with a location in Copenhagen and then also more recently in Stockholm. We work with more than 200 partner institutions across the US and Canada and bring students to Copenhagen and Stockholm for a semester, a full academic year, or for summer sessions.
I think what makes DIS pretty unique is that we really focus a lot on place-based learning as well as academic rigor. So we like to say a lot that, Europe is your classroom, and we really mean that when you come to DIS. So we do a lot of learning kind of outside of the classroom as well for our students.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I think something that I'm kind of meditating on a lot is that, AI, I think, is kind of forcing the point in the conversation for folks where, the experiences that are going to be that much more valuable for students are things like experiential learning and trying to, create sort of opportunities to build social capital and those sort of things. So all of this is sort of swirling in my mind, and definitely why I appreciate you all kind of jumping on for this conversation. And Lucy, we can stick with you. I think to start the answer to this question is strategically, how do you see digital platforms like Element or anything else sort of, with something that's so deeply personal and, place-based, how do you see digital platforms sort of amplifying what you're doing to kind of help you and your team kind of reach your full potential?
Yeah, in some ways, I feel like it's nice if the digital platforms we use can create more space, almost for students to actually focus on being in the place that they are. So if they can worry less about, when is my deadline? Because they have some sort of app or they have a personalized message through our student engagement platform that says, you know what? this is your deadline reminder for so-and-so, then they kind of don't need to stay on top of that, and they can really focus on, what am I doing here? Why am I here? What am I learning about? What can I gain from being in Copenhagen or Stockholm right now?
Yeah, that's what I think too, just as a quick kind of response to that, is that idea of like, you know, the kind of hypothesis that is being proven out, I think, with AI is that like it enables that sort of like higher level thinking or higher level work, that idea that you can, you know, as a student think through much more sort of perhaps longer term of like, what is it, you know, that I want to get out of my college experience and stuff versus like, yeah, just trying to keep up with like deadlines and tasks and all this sort of like to-dos and business of being a student or something. So I think that, yeah, that is a really great outcome.
Just one thought related to that, just that I think DIS as an organization is really focused on just thinking, like really looking at the student journey overall, and especially the digital student journey, and looking at all of the little ways across different teams at DIS and thinking about how we can kind of smooth out this process so that students can focus in on what they're learning and what are kind of those pressure points, whether it's SIM cards or transportation, and figuring out how they can have a smoother experience.
Well, and I guess there's even like a brief follow-up to that, like, because I think, yeah, that idea of if you're helping them to sort of better organize all the things that like they would need to do, like it's your SIM card, you've got to go get it and, you know, manage that sort of thing. But then like that your all's workflows and managing and tracking and kind of, you know, monitoring things, if you're using really sort of robust integrated digital platforms, it helps you all just sort of like do your, you know, business of being a study abroad organization easier, because you can maybe have a lot of stuff that's automated. You know, you don't have to like, oh, cool, I got this thing that I have to manually go send an email to do some, you know, it's like simple routine things like that. But, you know, you can just keep getting more kind of sophisticated and sort of, you know, that idea that you're saying like, okay, we're now even just envisioning what else can we do, you know, like, so I don't know if there's any like reflections on that of just sort of like even your own internal ways that you're working together. Have you seen sort of like ways that digital platforms have helped to like enable efficiency and kind of effectiveness?
Like many organizations, we're right now undergoing quite a bit of a digital transformation. We've been using this one system for the past 30 years that's been built out and customized, so it kind of contains all functions that DIS has needed. But right now we're in the process of carving that system out bit by bit into more out-of-the-box solutions like Element, and we're currently looking for an SIS. And so right now it's very much about connecting the dots between departments and between tasks. So I think down the line we'll be able to have and appreciate the student interactions so much more. But I think right now it is very much a rigorous process to get to that end goal. And then, of course, the technologies keep changing. And also being here in this space, there's so much potential unveiled that we're like, okay, we want to embrace that. But how is a big question.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's not any one only single way. It's sort of whatever, you know, journey you pursue. And I think it is noteworthy to sort of like acknowledge and empathize with like, this is hard work, it's complex, it takes a long time. And, you know, but understanding maybe, you know, just kind of existential importance of doing this, of sort of modernizing and all that, and not just sort of, you know, resting on your laurels and just assuming like, oh, everything will just work out. Eventually it always has. We've been around, you know, doing this work for, you know, so many years. So I think, yeah, it's good on you and your team for kind of, you know, navigating this moment, and the digital transformation and everything is just really great to hear that even in sort of a, you know, kind of unique part of the ecosystem that you all are kind of doing the work. But just asking everybody, you know, we're kind of to place this in time and space here. You know, we're midday through the first day, and has there been something really cool that you have seen or heard already, or you're excited to see over the next like day and a half? Anything noteworthy from any of you, I guess, at this event that like has been kind of top of mind or exciting that you're looking forward to?
I just think that something that's really cool about being at a conference like this is just being able to connect with people. I think many of us fall into kind of thinking that we're special and we're unique and we're its own little snowflake, which in many ways is true. We all are special and unique institutions, but I think I love just hearing from other people and hearing that, oh, you're struggling with change management, oh, you're wondering how to track your marketing sources better, we are too. And just really being able to connect and share like across stories. I think that's really cool about being here, and so that's what I'm most excited to do more of.
Yeah, I think kind of related to that, it's just exciting to bounce off ideas, and especially to meet other participants, representing other universities. And I think for me, just like in the day-to-day, also just managing my normal daily tasks, I'm often with Element thinking about just, we can't make this change unless it works exactly like our system before, and kind of, I think the conference definitely inspires me to change that mindset a little bit and think about think out of the box and what could other processes be and how can we think about this differently, but also figure out, if something's not working and do we need other feature requests and things like that before we can implement it.
Yeah, I do think it just, from both of your points, like I always get so much value over, out of the networking parts, over kind of the sessions and stuff sometimes, because I think I do a lot of reading and consuming content and sort of that side of it on my own time. So then when I'm here, I want to just sort of kind of bounce things off people, or I've been thinking about this, or I'm trying to connect dots. So I think that is a value of these spaces and places where a lot of people that either kind of share values or are struggling with the same things or work in similar areas where, like I said, there's maybe not a lot of study abroad organizations here, but it is sort of the same core kind of fundamental things of we're just trying to organize things, manage workflows, make things easier for students to do and for ourselves and all of that. So I think, it's just a great environment to do that. And the other question that I'm trying to ask everyone is, as much as you can kind of reflect on, your own journey with AI, sort of if you've been kind of on a early adopter kind of, journey, or if you were skeptical, but now you're sort of embracing it. Any reflections on sort of, because this space I think is helping people to just continue to embrace AI and understand its potential. Any reflections on your own journey, sort of better understanding AI, how to use it, and if you kind of went from a skeptic to, really embracing it?
I think I'm probably on the scale of originally skeptic and now really trying to embrace it and really trying to find the time to investigate the solutions that could alleviate some of that more manual, time-consuming, maybe less inspiring work, and actually free up resources and bandwidth to look at the strategic aspects of my role that I enjoy. And I think that's something that I see on my team a lot too. We're just trying to find the tools that work for us as a department, but then also for DIS as an organization. And it is a process that will take time. And then, of course, when we feel we get to a point where, okay, now we have it in place, then there are 1,000 new solutions. So it is finding that balance between adopting technologies, but also adopting the right technologies. So it's not just we should do everything, but focus and kind of hone in on the ones that make sense. Yeah, because that's been I guess I don't know if I would say I was a skeptic, but I'm never really an early adopter with any technology. So I think I'm now kind of ignored it, or I wait to a certain point and then I start to get curious and kind of look into it. And, we use it sometimes routinely just to give title options for podcast episode. It's I just want to kind of a creative hook or something. Give me some ideas or, things like that. And it's that's been really incorporated in a very kind of routine way that it helps sort of make that a lot more efficient. And, we can kind of refine that over time. But part of, I think, this question is trying to help represent and show that I think a lot of people have had sort of this journey with something that feels so sort of endemic. And it's just AI everywhere all the time. It's just sort of normal now. Or it's no, I think a lot of people are still kind of working through sort of getting more comfortable, or what are the right ways to use it, for their workflows and things. So I don't have any other reflections, I guess, on sort of AI journeys over the recent past.
Yeah, I think I'm also kind of at a similar point of it's here and how can we use it strategically and kind of use it as a collaborator and bounce ideas off of. Or someone on our team was telling me about how they kind of use it to figure out how you could do something in Element or how to create a formula that you need. And so kind of not using it to replace tasks or writing entire newsletters, but as a way to bounce off ideas and just use your time well.
Yeah, I think where I sit was, I think I was initially very skeptical, even though I generally like to try new things as fast as I can. I think I have almost a visceral kind of reaction to hearing the word AI, because it is everywhere. And I initially have this AI, it's everywhere, I don't want to hear about it, which doesn't make a lot of sense as to why I've joined a conference where AI is in the title of every session. But I like it. I want to use it. I want to see how I can use it better to be more efficient and just do my job better. And I think it's really cool that it opens up so many opportunities. I just wish I could get rid of my initial, AI.
It almost does need kind of like a rebrand or something, because it feels like this moment is distinctly different, where like technically AI was like helping us with like autocorrect and different things. Like there's a lot of ways that was already embedded in a lot of technology, but now it's sort of just like slapped on to like everything. And, I feel, it's just kind of like exhausting, just sort of like the kind of deluge of it. And but it did come, on the scene so like fast and furious. I think like people's sort of, journeys, whether they were early adopters or what have you, like it had to, I feel like, happen in such a condensed timeline. So I think continuing to make, spaces and places like this available, I think hopefully will help folks as they continue on their learning journeys with AI. And just really appreciate you all for, coming here and being a part of the community and joining the podcast and sharing all that you did. And we'll have ways to connect with each of you and DIS in the show notes for the episode. But yeah, this was really great chatting with you all. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Higher Ed Geek Podcast. This show is a proud member of the Enrollify Network, home to Higher Ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow, so be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly in your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.